Hello, and welcome to another teaching from TorahFamily.org. We are a family-based ministry that believes the whole Bible stands forever, that all of it is based in the Torah, and all of it promotes the Torah. Please visit us at TorahFamily.org for more teachings like this one. We hope this teaching helps you learn and grow in the faith. Men of Yahweh, Chapter 27. Where will you stand? It doesn't take a rocket scientist to see the world is changing before our very eyes. It's changing rather quickly. Let's face it, no one in the general population would have considered the state we're in right now even just 2 years ago. Seriously. And yet, here we are today with the talk of vaccine passports to travel. And in some countries, they're already starting to be required. If someone had said this would be happening worldwide today, back in 2019, they would have been laughed at. Yet, here we are. People today are having to make choices to either get a vaccine or lose their job. Again, something no one saw coming just 2 years ago. Hard decisions are having to be made by people. And though it may not be impacting you at the moment, what will you do if it does? These choices being forced on many people are creating stress, contention, and even division among good friends and even among family. Should we be surprised at this? Not really. Luke 12:53. They will be divided, father against son, and son against father, mother against daughter, and daughter against mother, mother-in-law against daughter-in-law, and daughter-in-law against mother-in-law. Many of you know we believe in the pre-tribulation resurrection. This view often gets scoffed at by many. I'm not here to defend that view in this teaching. We have several teachings covering that topic for those interested in why we believe this way. You can start with our teaching titled The Church of Philadelphia, or our written teaching, Pre-Trib. But let it be known, it doesn't have to be the end times for there to be persecution on believers. Not at all. In fact, every martyr who died for the cause thus far was not in the given time known as the tribulation as described in Revelation. But what many seem to overlook is how even this verse in Luke 12:53 is not discussing the end times. Let's read it in context with the previous verses. Starting in verse 49. I have come to bring fire on the earth, and how I wish it were already kindled. But I have a baptism to undergo, and how distressed I am until it is completed. Do you think I came to bring peace on earth? No, I tell you, but division. From now on, there will be 5 in one family, divided against each other, 3 against 2, and 2 against 3. They will be divided, father against son, and son against father, mother against daughter, and daughter against mother, mother-in-law against daughter-in-law, and daughter-in-law against mother-in-law. This kind of division has been around since the time of Yeshua. It's nothing new. It's just more evident when the lines are drawn in the sand. And that seems to be the case with what we're seeing today. But again, those lines have been drawn many times throughout the centuries. When it comes down to it, it all comes down to walking in faith. Something that is so much easier said than done. Whether we're approaching the end times or not, it seems we are approaching a time where lines are being drawn out, which will eventually cause everyone to choose what side we will stand on. Will we stand like Daniel? Will we stand like Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah? What? You don't know them? Well, let me give you their Babylonian names: Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. These men stood amid opposition. Public opinion was against them, let alone the governing authority they were under. So what if the Bible was still being written today? What would be written about you? It's so easy to read about these people in the Bible and imagine ourselves there. However, it's much different when you're actually there. It all comes down to who we're going to trust. Can it be a difficult time? Absolutely. However, at the same time, I sincerely believe the Spirit will give us everything we need to make the right choice, even in the midst of a hard pressing. It will be a peace in the midst of the storm. In fact, I can see it as a time of ultimate freeing. It will be a time when one ultimately sets the world to the side, no matter the cost. Look at what's said of the people who walked by faith in the book of Hebrews. Hebrews 11:13. All these people were still living by faith when they died. They did not receive the things promised. They only saw them and welcomed them from a distance. And they admitted that they were aliens and strangers on earth. Let me say that one more time. And they admitted that they were aliens and strangers on earth. People who say such things show that they are looking for a country of their own. If they had been thinking of the country they had left, they would have had opportunity to return. Instead, they were longing for a better country, a heavenly one. Therefore, God is not ashamed to be called their God, for He has prepared a city for them. Therefore, God is not ashamed to be called their God. I've said for a long time now that every day we face is a test for us, all of us. Could it be that we are about to encounter tests to see if Yahweh will be ashamed of us? Are we entering into a time designed to separate the sheep from the goats, if you will? A time that will put all mankind under the microscope of Yahweh to see who He claims as His. But what if this time we're facing has nothing to do with the end times? What if there are decades or even centuries still to go? What if we're about to see hard times as was in the past? As in times when other martyrs died by the hundreds and even thousands at a time. Hebrews 11 gives examples over and over of believers who walked by faith. However, many seem to look over the latter half of that chapter. Verse 35, women received back their dead, raised to life again. Others were tortured and refused to be released so that they might gain a better resurrection. Some faced jeers and flogging, while still others were chained and put in prison. They were stoned. They were sawed in two. They were put to death by the sword. They went about in sheep's clothing and goatskins, destitute, persecuted, and mistreated. The world was not worthy of them. One more time. The world was not worthy of them. They wandered in deserts, in mountains, and in caves, and in holes in the ground. These were all commended for their faith, yet none of them received what had been promised. God had planned something better for us, so that only together with us would they be made perfect. These people were not in the end times, yet they suffered the ultimate for the kingdom. Regardless of where we're at on Yahweh's master timeline, it seems we could be entering a time of sifting, a time where we will have to make a choice when the line is drawn in the sand. Will you be able to trust our Heavenly Father in the midst of it all like those of Hebrews 11? Are you spiritually ready for what may lie ahead? Can you lay it all down for Him? If not, what changes do you need to make in your life now to make yourself ready? This is a question we all need to confront. When the line is drawn for you, where will you stand? We hope you've enjoyed this teaching. Now it's up to you to be a Berean and study it for yourself. That's the only way to grow. Until next time, Shalom.